I think at this point, many people out there feel like social media was a mistake. And let me tell you, Jackson Mahomes is sure making a strong case as to why.
I am straight, I don't have to act straight, and my brother does love me, and I think if he didn't love me, I wouldn't be living with him.
It is rare for a player of Patrick Mahomes' magnitude to be overshadowed by anyone. At this point in his career, he is that big of a star. But we have started to see his younger brother Jackson taking the headlines away from him. Every week it seems like it's something else, and it's not always good. In fact, it's almost never good. I would go as far as to say that there have been times that Jackson has flat out embarrassed Patrick. So, today let's revisit 10 of his worst moments. An easy place to start is with Mahomes' most recent transgression, which came at FedEx Field when his brother's Kansas City Chiefs were squaring off with the lowly Washington football team. While it may have seemed like it was going to be just a run-of-the-mill contest between two rather unrelated teams, the Washington Brass decided to stage a halftime ceremony to honor one of the franchise's most impactful players, Sean Taylor, who was killed by a home intruder back in 2007. It was a very emotional day for the team, as many players, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, hold Taylor in the highest regard. Similarly, it was an emotional day for the fan base that worshipped Taylor when he was on the team, and have been calling for the organization to honor him for some time now. Unfortunately, the moment went completely over Jackson Mahomes' head, and he decided to make the grave mistake of recording and subsequently posting a TikTok dance right on top of Taylor's number on the field. There is simply no excuse for Jackson. The area was blocked off and everything. He did, however, try to walk it back and apologize after he saw all the backlash from NFL fans who put him on blast for such a disrespectful act. I want to sincerely apologize for accidentally being on the Sean Taylor number 21 at FedEx Field, Jackson said. We were directed to stand in that area, and I meant absolutely no disrespect to him or his family. The younger Mahomes is no stranger to putting up bizarre TikToks that enrage his haters. And usually, they involve some heinous dance that everyone except him absolutely despises. But as much as people usually trash him for his content, most of his videos pale in comparison to this most horrifying one that he posted. I mean, this dance was freaking despicable. Like, it's pretty damn cringeworthy. It honestly almost hurts to watch. Speaking of cringeworthy though, how about the time that he posted this freaky video of his sister-in-law, Brittany Matthews, licking his brother Patrick on the side of the face? In one tile, the three of them were sitting in a bar-type setup, and Patrick is looking off to the side. Jackson fires up the camera and the video starts. To get Patrick's attention, Brittany turns and weirdly licks the side of his face while Jackson is watching. Then the two start on with their awful forearm dance, which only makes the whole deal worse. Listen, I'm all for some good old-fashioned family time, and it's nice that they're spending time together. I support that. I really do. But we simply have to set some boundaries here, folks. Can't be posting weird videos of your brother getting his face licked. Even Patrick seems unimpressed with this needless publicity. Just very creepy vibes, if you ask me. On the subject of some of Jackson's borderline creepy tendencies, how about this weird obsession with TikTok star NESSA? Before we start on this one, I apologize in advance for diving into the godforsaken world of TikTok drama. Surely, that is not what most folks out there come to TPS for. But I hope that it serves as a firm reminder of just how far Jackson Mahomes has gone. I mean, if it wasn't bad enough that he was embarrassing his big brother, now he has all but forced us into talking about TikTok. Anyway, moving past the disclaimers, this whole ordeal started back when Jackson and NESSA shot a duet type of video on TikTok, and the two lip-synced the rather sultry lyrics to Lucky by Lil Nemo. To make matters worse, Mahomes captioned the video, "Let me take you on a date." Then there were his cringe-worthy comments about NESSA on a live stream. Someone asked Jackson if he liked NESSA. "Yeah, she's hot," he said. Another person asked if he was in love with her, to which Jackson replied, "I wouldn't necessarily say I'm in love with her, but I would love to take her on a date for sure. She's super hot." Ugh. Nothing like openly pining for someone else's significant other. Of course, Jackson's behavior apparently irritated NESSA's on and off again boyfriend Josh Richards, who promptly decided to do what any good TikToker would and stitch over Mahomes' video with an overlay of him giving a thumbs up after the camera shows NESSA sleeping in his bed. Jackson was, however, relentless and tried to chirp Richards, commenting on the video that she looks bored. Josh got the last laugh though, hitting Mahomes with a quality jab loaded with inference, saying, "Long night, probably tired." This particular controversy actually played a role in pouring fuel on the fire of another entry on this list, Jackson Mahomes' ridiculous feud with Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy. If you're wondering how the 44-year-old Portnoy found himself embroiled in this feud, it is partially because of his relationship with Josh Richards, who he co-hosts a podcast called BFFs with. After Jackson's repeated pursuit of NESSA went viral, Portnoy naturally made a few choice remarks about Mahomes, and reiterated that Richards and NESSA were an item, something that I'm sure Jackson was not too fond of. This actually wasn't the first time the two social media stars butted heads. The first instance took place back in 2019, when Portnoy published a blog about Jackson in the aforementioned Brittany Matthews, after they made public remarks about the crowd at Gillette Stadium following a Chiefs-Patriots matchup. To be fair to Jackson, the first two sentences of the article read, "Introducing Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend and his brother, the two biggest morons on the planet." So, I mean, yeah, I guess I understand why he would also be a little bit peeved at Portnoy. The conflict hit its apex when the Barstool Sports founder apparently tried to get Mahomes to come onto the podcast and discuss his feud with Richards, the NESSA situation, and his emerging beef with Portnoy. Mahomes, however, was not interested, and instead put Dave on blast, posting their DMs and asking why he would go on a podcast that continually bashes him and his family, which, again, that is a fair point. It is interesting to note that Portnoy's blog post actually came after yet another instance of Mahomes taking it way too far, because apparently, before he and Matthews launched their smear campaign against the New England Patriots fan base, they were doing their very best to get under the skin of the Holmes fans with their theatrics. As with everything, there appears to be two vastly different sides of the story. Matthews gave her account in a string of tweets, saying, the first read, "As soon as we sit down, drunk dude, hey everyone, this is Patrick Mahomes' girl and brother. Let's give them shit. This'll be fun." That was followed up with, "This place is horrible. People already yelling every time I stand up. Am I not allowed to stand up for a football game?" Then she wrote, "I was told if I stand, they will call security and kick us out. Can't stand for your team?" And finally, Gillette security came and got us, and moved us to a safe place. That's how you know it was bad. Okay, so there is one side of the story. But, on the other hand, there were also reports that came out of Gillette that Matthews and Mahomes were being provocative and making an absolute scene despite being on enemy turf. And considering this video that circulated after the game, well, I think it's safe to say that's entirely a believable premise.
No, no, no. No, 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 no. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Especially considering this isn't the only time we've seen Jackson going at it with the home fan bases. In fact, it's sort of becoming a pastime for the oft-reviled TikToker, like when he took it to another level during a game between the Chiefs and Ravens by dumping water on Ravens fans after his brother's Chiefs lost a hard-fought matchup with Baltimore. Jackson was rather unapologetic about this instance, quote retweeting one of the posts that contained the video and stating about the Ravens fans they were thirsty. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Patrick actually had to respond to some of the questions and comments that spawned from this event.
Patrick, there was a clip after the game, a viral clip of your brother getting yelled at by some fans and dumped some water. Can you talk to him about that and just what stands there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's something that we don't want to necessarily do. There was things said to him and Brittany that you don't see kind of on the clip. But I mean, he's been good at it, at not trying to respond to that stuff. He takes a lot, and he's usually pretty good at it, and he'll learn from it, and just try to stay away from those people as best he can.
I get that he's his brother, so it's only natural that he's a little bit biased, but I mean, What universe is Patrick living in? In a shocking turn of events, Quentin Lucas, the mayor of Kansas City, who admittedly has a bit of a vested interest in keeping Patrick Mahomes happy and in Kansas City, decided to take to Twitter to support the troubled TikToker. He put it simply, leave Jackson Mahomes alone. All in all, this was a pretty hilarious move by Lucas. To see the mayor of a city come out and defend the spoiled little brother of said city's football team's quarterback is something out of Mad Libs. At least these controversies didn't result in another bizarre rant from Jackson about all the rude people on the internet. Yeah, Jackson, hate to break it to you, but the internet is not exactly a nice place. Especially not if you dedicate your usage of it to posting cringeworthy videos and trolling people all the time. Obviously, people are gonna start taking shots back at you. Like, what did you expect? It's ironic that a child of the internet who also makes his living on the internet seems to have such a fundamental misunderstanding of what exactly the internet is and how it behaves. People are nice to animal videos, military homecoming videos, and that's kinda it. Last but not least, we have two rather jocular instances, so that we can hopefully close out this video on a slightly lighter note than a semi-manic meltdown from a spoiled man-child. First up, there was this ridiculous shoot-around session that Jackson decided to post. Now again, there's nothing wrong with going outside and getting some fresh air and exercise, yada yada yada. But somehow, Jackson always finds a way to make even the most mundane little instances troublesome. I mean, what in the world are those shorts he's wearing? And he's practicing with what looks eerily reminiscent of a basketball you might win at a carnival. Speaking of normal things that he makes look bad, how about this weak attempt at shotgunning a beer at the AFC Championship game? Not much really needs to be said here. Poor form, poor execution, poor effort. Not the furthest Mahomes has ever taken his offensive behavior, but certainly worth mentioning. But are there any other embarrassing Jackson Mahomes moments that we missed? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.